Hello everyone and welcome to the Pit and Paddock Race Show for the week of July 3rd. We're going to start off today with NASCAR, where Kyle Larson finally won the race at Indy, just not the one that matters. Second place, Tyler Reddick, always the bridesmaid, and a cranky Ryan Blaney in third. So once again at Indy, it was difficult to pass, so the race was mostly blocking and fuel saving.
I thought super speedways were more exciting.
Well, when you had 30 degrees of banking and...
Oh, Indy's pretty flat.
Indy's, what is it, 9, 10 degrees? It's one of the flatter tracks.
It's like a big rectangle with curved edges.
Yeah.
Like, there's a word for that. Chamfered. They're chamfered edges.
That makes sense. Well, early on, Chase Elliott and Brad Keselowski got knocked out of contention with this blend line violation. They crossed, coming out of the pits, you got to stay on below the line until you get out onto the backstretch. Chase Elliott came up above the white line onto the racing surface, so him and Brad Keselowski got kicked to the back and pretty much knocked out of contention.
Yeah, I heard a lot of argument about, is it the line or the race surface? Is the apron the race surface, or is it not? I mean, there was a lot of confusion.
NASCAR could have just went like, it's the second line, you cannot get all four wheels over, would have made it, but instead racing surface is, well, you can race anywhere. I mean, it's not a good idea, but...
The grass can be racing surface.
I've seen the grass be a racing surface.
I've used grass as racing surface many times in, sim racing.
Yes. But that was the most pissed off I've ever heard Chase Elliott on the radio. Colorful language.
He's the son of McDonald's Elliott, right?
Yes, Bill.
Okay. Bill Elliott. Yep. He was always McDonald's, as far as I can remember.
He was Dodge towards the end.
Wait, the son of Bill Elliott or grandson?
Son.
Because we're getting close to grandson age, I think.
Yeah, that's his son. First two stages were stages.
Unexciting as
they existed and then they ended. I think the last stint was the most interesting part, where Kyle Larson, he started outside the top 20 and was not saving fuel, while most people ahead of him were saving fuel, and he was making some pretty effective passes, about the only person all day. And then it got interesting, because he got close to the front on the last restart, and that is where Brad Keselowski decided he needed to pull off and refuel coming to the restart, which means, he was on the inside line and he pitted, so Kyle Larson moved from 4th up to 1st.
He must have really been out of fuel to pit on a restart.
Yeah, why would it even get that far? You should have, I don't know, but he did.
He needs the really long fuel line.
Which gave Kyle Larson kind of a bit of a running start at the restart, because he was already moving up, and he got pretty close, or did actually pass Blaney. He might have jumped the restart. I don't know. It was close. It looks like he did on camera.
Larson later said he didn't jump the restart. He was just gathering delegates.
Oh, that makes sense. And then, well, after that, I think Ryan Preece runs out of fuel with 2 laps to go. All the cars are about on the backstretch. And then NASCAR waits until the cars get back into turn 2 to throw the yellow flag, which, no more overtime finishes after that.
Why was he on the track?
He was enough on the track. I could see why they threw it.
Formula One would not have thrown that yellow.
Probably not. I don't know. I think it was, half of it was the race was running long, and it had shifted off NBC, and NASCAR was like, all right, let's wrap this up. And they didn't want a, 5 restart overtime Nashville finish like they had a few weeks ago.
Hey, at least there was no rain this time.
No rain.
It only rains for the Indy 500.
We still get the channel kicked around, though. Well, NBC continued their anti-racing campaign. I mean, since they didn't have IndyCar to bump around this week, they moved NASCAR from NBC to USA.
What? Why did they move it off NBC?
Oh, I don't. Something about some senile old man quitting his job or something. I don't know. I didn't pay attention at that point.
Did something happen on Sunday? I just watch racing and good movies.
I don't know. I turned to USA when the race switched. I don't know. I just saw some old man bumbling about. I'm not sure what they're talking about.
A letter. I heard something about a letter.
A tweet?
And a tweet. A letter and a tweet.
That seems official.
Not. We're not proposing any conspiracy theories like Weekend at Bernie's, but
Well, maybe for 3 years or so.
yeah.
So then eventually the race gets back on it. Normal NBC until the overtime restart where NBC shoves it back onto USA for the most important part. My DVR cut off, so I didn't actually get to see the overtime until hours later. What happened?
This is why it's good to watch the extended highlights.
Yeah, that's where I kicked on the extended highlights to actually see the finish. God. It's getting kind of ridiculous. Every week there's something.
NBC is like the jilted bride that, right before they got to the altar, the groom said, "You know what? Never mind. We're going to go with we're going to go with the fox."
It's always not even rain. And now it's just they're finding random reasons to switch away.
Hey, in good news, my man Gilligan had his best ever sixth, maybe career best in the Cup. I don't know.
That's probably close to it.
It was his best finish, maybe ever. I'm thinking he should try the Memorial Day double and run the Indy 500 next year.
That's a tougher go.
Yeah, he can do it. Wait, he's in good shape, right? He's not like Carl Larson skinny, but I mean, he's normal, right?
I think he could. He should try it. Everyone should try it.
He could do it.
Well, Kyle Hardluck Busch crashed out again.
Poor Kyle Busch.
This time with 3 laps to go.
So close. He
was
almost
right up
made
there
it.
too.
He almost made it to the checkered flag this time.
He was so close. I don't know. He said that he left the race so he could focus on the last 5 months of his career. So
Did he issue a letter and a tweet?
Yes.
You know what? I saw AJ. How did Allmendinger get a ride?
Yeah, he used to win. We used to win at road courses all the time.
So they put him at Indy. That's the wrong Indy for him, isn't it?
Maybe they set that schedule out before they realized that they had switched back from the road course.
Oh wait, you're not supposed to be on the docket this race. This is an oval.
Sorry, my name's already on the thing.
Yeah.
Man, Jimmy Johnson, who luckily he came back to racing so he could crash out of every single race he started this year.
Kind of like his IndyCar career.
Man, that was rough.
His whole IndyCar career was like crashing out.
He didn't. What has it been like? He's doing like 4 or 5 races this year, and I don't think he's finished one of them.
Yeah. In IndyCar, did he ever get more than like second person from the back? Like
I think on the ovals he finished top.
Oh yeah. On the road course, he could not keep up with everybody else on the road courses.
He's just old. Not,
You know-
not quite as quick as he used to be.
It takes a lot of reflexes to do road courses and arm strength.
Well, on that note, another problem I have with NBC. Every single time the announcers mention and show that stupid picture of how many different racing and sports facilities can fit inside the speedway. Have you seen that?
Yeah.
I don't. They do it every single time they're there. I don't know. I think an angel will lose its wings and somebody kicks a puppy and I just die a little inside every time I see it. I hate it so much.
Did they show like an aircraft carrier? Could an aircraft carrier fit inside there?
Yes.
I bet you they could put a whole nother racetrack inside the racetrack.
Oh, let me tell you. They could fit at least 140 Bristol Motor Speedways in there.
Yeah.
People on the internet started making fun of it and put an Indianapolis Motor Speedway inside of Indianapolis Motor. Like,
Could they fit a Trump rally inside there?
it would be close.
How many Biden rallies could they fit inside the Indianapolis Motor Speedway?
All of them? The state of Montana
Did,
fit inside. I don't know.
did did you know the track used to be completely paved with bricks?
I also have heard that on the broadcast before.
I kind of wish they would go back to bricks. Maybe that would make a more interesting race.
That would be tough on the suspension.
A little bumpy.
A couple other notes for the weekend. The Busch Series put on probably the best stock car race I've ever seen at Indy. They
Yeah.
had actually passed, and the cars were moving around. I don't know. Maybe they should run the Busch cars for the Cup Series at some of these tracks. There was no passing issues at all. Also,
What?
the Truck Series was at what is it, like a half-mile short track outside of Indy, and that made me realize that the truck should only be racing on short tracks because that's a lot of fun.
Why the big difference between Busch cars and Cup cars? I mean, is the aero that different from a Busch car to a Cup car?
Just the whole car is different now. The whole suspension setup and the Busch cars are pretty much what the Cup cars used to be, but a little bit smaller. I don't know. They just run better at those big tracks.
Yeah, F1 might have that problem next year with their next formula, where the F2 cars are actually faster than the F1 cars around a lap because of all the crazy 50% electrical, and
yeah.
you have to harvest and move the wings and all the stuff you have to do for the next Formula One.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying too because they restrict the horsepower of the Cup cars, which at some tracks the Busch cars are faster.
Yeah.
It's kind of annoying. Anyway, move on to some paint schemes, I think.
Paint schemes.
I
We
wasn't...
need to have like a big flash like on the screen. Paint schemes.
Explosion?
Yeah, explosion. Paint schemes.
It was like, we don't care.
So people can scrub across if they just like the paint schemes.
I wasn't super impressed this weekend. I would guess Kyle Busch with the Cheddar's car had a painted kind of like a flag. That was pretty cool, I guess.
I was going with Barry in the number 4 Panini car, only because it's similar to Gilligan when he has peanuts or pickles. Yeah, Panini, because that's bread in Italian.
I saw they had Caitlin Clark on the hood.
Really?
Yeah.
Did somebody knock her down onto the hood?
I believe he was in a large crash, so yes.
With like Caitlin Clark smashed into the hood by another player giving her the elbow?
Probably.
That would have been a good view.
A couple of bad paint schemes. I don't like the 24 Valvoline car, William Byron. I mean, the Valvoline car has so many good schemes that, like Cart, I remember Mark Martin had the Valvoline car. It was tough to make it look bad, but
Yeah.
they go with like a grayish color and a light blue, and it just ruins it.
The monochrome
Yeah,
Valvoline
like
car?
it just do the red and the blue, and it looks good. And they mess around with it, and it looks terrible.
I wanted to call out. I can't even say the dude's name. Baliki? It looks like bikini when you glance at it. Anyway, that's what I'm going to go with that.
Good.
Bikini in the number 92 Xfinity car had Rita's Ice with the logo Ice. It was Rita's.
Rita's.
The logo was Ice, Custard, and Happiness. And I would like Rita to elaborate on the happiness. Exactly what are they selling at Rita's?
Rita's.
That's what I
Ice,
wanna know.
custard, and happiness?
And happiness. Notice happy is at the end of the sentence.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it a special parlor that she sells her ice cream out of? I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah,
It's a very happy ending there.
it is. Happy's right at the ending. That and the number 13 Xfinity car with McLeod.
Oh.
McLeod. There's only one.
There could only be one.
There could only be one. Falling in reverse. I don't know what the hell that means. It's like you got a focus group together to come up with the slogan, and then you had some middle school kids come up with the flame font. You can't even read it. Like, you know what? Xfinity needs to rethink that one.
It's a perfect font for like a 2000s rock band.
Yes. Next up will be the K-pop font.
Oh God. That would go big in NASCAR circles.
Yeah.
Coming up next.
Whoa, what if they did Kim Jong-il? Kim Jong... What's the current Kim Jong? Kim Jong-oops?
Un?
Un, okay.
Yes.
What if they had him and mixed him with K-pop? That would be an interesting K-pop.
He probably has a K-pop band.
Oh, yeah.
I don't. So we've got a 2-week Olympic break with no NASCAR.
Only 2. Everyone else does like 3 or 4.
Well, that's the most NASCAR can do. They
But-
barely even want a week off.
You know, if they were on Fox, they wouldn't do a 2-week break for the Olympics.
Probably not. So we've got 2 weeks to wait until Richmond, which is a 3/4 mile short track. 400 laps, 300 miles, and they're going to have that alternate tire
Oh, that's
we
good.
talked about there before, so hopefully that'll spice it up a little bit.
That's a Civil War battlefield too, right?
Richmond Whitefly?
Well, not right there. No, Richmond was the capital of the Confederacy. Did they have a battle outside there? I can't remember. There are a lot of battle sites around.
They probably did, because it didn't seem to end well for them.
Yeah. Hey, let's move on to F1, which was in Hungary this weekend, where Mclaren managed to inject some drama into what's usually a pretty ho-hum race. A 1-2 finish for McLaren. First time in 12 years.
Wow.
Oscar Piastri,
Pastry.
Oscar Pastry took the win with Lando Norris in second, and Lewis Hamilton again finding the podium for third place.
Good job.
The drama all came when McLaren ordered Norris to give the lead back to Pastry, and Norris kind of balked. And it reminded me of Multi-21,
The Multi-21.
the famous Sebastian Vettel and who was the guy with the atrocious starts? Remember, drunk English guy always accused him, the other Australian, of having atrocious starts. Weber. Mark Webber. Webber's in the cool down room going, Multi-21, Seb.
What did that mean?
Yeah. Oh, back then you weren't allowed to do.
That's right.
You couldn't do team orders, so they came up with the code word Multi-21, which means switch positions and.
Just let them do what they want to do. Anyway, for a minute there, I thought Lando wasn't going to step down. I guess the team has enough blackmail on him or something. Maybe him or his family to get him out of the way for Kamala. Oscar. Oscar. I don't know what I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
you're stepping down. Yeah, he finally did it on the last lap and gave the position back. But the question is, was Lando wrong to argue that he should have kept the lead? I mean, McLaren pitted him first, even though he was in second.
Right.
And then pitted Piastri second, even though he was in first, which gave Lando an advantage. And Lando got past him, on that extra lap that Piastri did on used tires. But then, so I don't know. Was it fair for Lando to complain?
McLaren set it up that way so they would hold on, no matter if there's any sort of miscue or something. So he probably should have given it up, but I don't think McLaren should have done it. I don't think it was worth doing in the first place. There was too much drama, or that probably would have turned out fine. But now Pastry's got his first win here, and everyone's talking about team orders and this move instead of man, what a great start Oscar had, and he dominated the whole race until McLaren was like, we're just going to do this, and now everyone talks about it. Although if I was Lando, I would have waited till the last turn and then made it real obvious.
I like Lando's. Well, tell him to catch up. I mean, to be fair,
He did run some quick laps faster, but
yeah.
I don't.
And Pastry went off at one point and cost himself some time. So, yeah, I mean, to be fair, they pitted Lando first to help him out, so he should have given the position back. On the other hand, he was arguing, I'm the one who's challenging Verstappen for the driver championship, so let me have the extra points.
But I don't think he can catch him, but that probably would have been the smarter team move, is to let I don't know. I think they should have just let it play out without, trying crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, but it made the race a little more interesting.
It did. That was besides, that was pretty much the most interesting part of the race.
Yeah, I was kind of falling asleep until that happened.
I would be disappointed, if I was Oscar, all the talk of your first win gets replaced by the team order aspect of the race.
Yeah, he didn't sound excited.
He should have been much more excited, but he after the team orders, you're kind of well, I'll take the win.
Yeah.
That's kind of disappointing. Hey, you want to guess what my overtake of the race is going to be?
Lando getting past.
Yeah, that was a heck of a pass by Oscar to get by Lando there. Well, or Max on Lewis.
That was better. Hey, you know what? Didn't they used to make Felipe Massa let Schumacher pass him
They did it
and Barrichello before?
Yeah, they
before
did it a whole
Massa.
lot until he had the championship actually like mathematically locked in.
Yeah,
Then they would let the other guy win like a race or two at the end of the season.
yeah. And Massa would dutifully give up the position. But I mean, if you're in the championship lead, you should be the one who, gets a little bit of extra from the team.
That's what you'd think.
Yeah.
I think they've given up on it and they're just going for some constructors because there's still a better chance of catching him on that one.
Yeah, because if you're not following Formula One, the Drivers' Championship pays $0. You get a trophy. But the Constructors' Championship can pay many, many millions of dollars.
All of the dollars.
Yeah, hundreds of millions of dollars to win the Constructors. So they don't really care about the Drivers' Championship, the team. Plus, in F1, the drivers have to share a pit stall, so that makes it harder to pit at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Like IndyCar and NASCAR, teammates can all pit together, but they don't do that in F1. You think they should change that?
No, because it's a constructor series.
Yeah, and they need all the excitement they can get
Yeah.
in F1.
Yeah, that helps a little bit.
Oh well. What this race really reminded me was how boring the Australian national anthem is. It's almost as bad as Germany and England.
Yeah, I don't even remember the Australian national anthem.
Oh, it was just another slow, lamenting. I don't know. They just make me want to cut my wrists. They're so boring. The only one who doesn't have a boring national anthem in Europe is Ferrari.
That one's fun.
Yeah.
A little uplifting.
Especially if you read the words. They have stuff like, let's join a cohort, we are ready to die. And something about making our swords drink the blood of the Polish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, they should sing the words.
The Italians do, and I wonder if that's what they're singing, because my Italian's not very good.
I always make up words in my head when I hear those the national anthems.
Well, at least we got to hear Max Verstappen whine about having a bad car and fight with his engineer through the whole race. That was great.
That's childish, Max. Childish.
His engineer said that over the radio.
Sounds like someone's dad yelling at like a teenager or something.
Where's all the talk about Max being the greatest driver ever? As soon as he doesn't have the best car, nobody says anything.
It seems like any time his car is not in contention for a win this year, there's some kind of contact is made, a bad pass, or he's something. He's always hitting someone.
Didn't we used to call him Verkrashen before before Red Bull got good?
They found out that if their car's that much better, he doesn't have to get close to anybody.
Oh yeah, Max attacked his team, the media, the fans, and finally the Supreme Court.
Might as well jump on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Well, Ferrari shocked everybody with a good strategy and managed to gain 2 positions, one for each of their cars.
Is a decent Ferrari strategy one of the 7 seals of revelation?
I think so. The end is near. Y'all better get right with God.
Well, Alpine finished out of the points again, sparking rumors that they might be switching to Trabant engines next season.
Oh, the East German one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the little performance
Yeah.
enhancement there, I guess.
I think those were like 3-cylinder 2-strokes, or they were really awful.
Can't get worse.
Yeah. Gasly's rumored to be looking at Haas and Sauber for next year's seats.
You mean the Italian Grand Prix winner, Pierre Gasly?
Yes. But at least that's better than Ocon.
Yeah, it is.
Surprisingly, Lance Stroll finished ahead of Alonso.
That's also one of the 7 seals of revelation. It's bound to happen once a year, at least.
Yeah, Alonso was complaining most of the race anyway, so I think there was something going wrong with his car. Driver report. Perez didn't help his cause at Red Bull after crashing out in Q1. Is he even going to be at Red Bull next year?
I wouldn't keep him. He's really done terrible.
Yeah. What was it before this race? he had scored 15 points to Verstappen's 130 or 40 points. Like it was really bad.
He did make it back to 7th and get in the points this time, but that's seems like too little too late.
Yeah, you don't crash out of F1. You know, he's averaging 6/10 behind his teammate Verstappen in qualifying. So that's over half a second. Like, that's an eternity. Usually he's a tenth or half a tenth behind his teammate.
How far is Stroll average behind Alonso?
Surprisingly, Stroll is the second closest to his teammate.
Oof. So you're saying Stroll to the Red Bull next season?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, if he can bring his dad's money, then yeah. Red Bull doesn't need his money.
No.
Maybe for Red Bull Junior, I could see that. Although the Alpine or the Aston Martin's better than Red Bull Junior.
That's true. Helmut did say that Red Bull's going to review his status during the break, and I think that's what they said to Nick De Vries last year too.
Oh yeah, that didn't go well for Nick De Vries.
No, that was not great.
Yeah. But granted, Nick De Vries crashed like 4 cars leading up to the August break. At least, well, I don't know. You know what? Perez might be close.
His crashes are all in qualifying too.
Yeah. They have to work a lot harder to fix them. Well, in other driver news, Magnussen is out at Haas. Sad treatment. The greatest wingman since Enkidu.
Enkidu?
He was the sidekick for Gilgamesh, the Bronze Age superhero.
I didn't see that movie.
Ancient Mesopotamia? No? Okay. Anyway. Yeah. Enkidu. Nobody names their kid Enkidu anymore.
That's a shame. It's kind of a terrible name. Or Gilgamesh.
Yeah. That one nobody goes with Gilgamesh. I did have a historical name for my youngest child, but my wife nixed it. I wanted to go with Vercingetorix.
That's kind of a fun name to say.
Yeah, she said he'd spend all his life explaining who Vercingetorix was, so no.
Yeah, that would be annoying.
Oh well. But yeah, Mags is out. Goodbye, Mags. You did a good job.
I heard a report that Ocon was going to replace him. Really?
At Haas, really?
Ocon?
You're gonna switch out the guy who would commit war crimes to help his team get a point to the guy who crashed out his teammate in Monaco despite orders to hold position.
I'm gonna rack up 4 minutes worth of penalties to keep Kevin Magnussen in 10th place and get that point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's not gonna happen because their other driver is the Ferrari coming up young driver.
Oh, Ollie Behrman.
Behrman. Yeah. We haven't heard anything about Kimi, the other Kimi.
Oh, yeah.
The one from Mercedes, but that's another open seat. We still don't know who's going to take Mercedes. A lot of people are saying, well, let's move on to Sainz. Sainz, we still don't know what he's going, where he's going. A lot of people are saying Mercedes, but I don't know. What do you think?
If he could get Mercedes, that would be pretty good. They seem to be on the upswing here lately.
You know, it could be Red Bull. Perez used to be Red Bull Junior. And Red Bull doesn't seem excited to bring Ricciardo or Yuki Tsunoda up to the big seat.
No. That's quite the getting fired from Ferrari and going to Red Bull if he could pull that off.
Yeah. And then Perez goes to Mercedes, right? And then it's like a Rubik's Cube move. Boom.
Perez is trying to make it easy for him, I guess.
Yeah. Rate the race. I gave it an 8 out of 10 just because we get to see Max throw a big baby fit. That was entertaining.
That was, yeah, I'm going to go 7. The early part of the race wasn't super interesting. Hungary's kind of tough to pass at, but
yeah,
the closing stages, Max throwing fits, unneeded teammate drama, that was kind of kept the race pretty interesting at the end. Good race, though, and probably one of the better Hungaroring races I can remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's known for people getting their first win there. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Like, quite a few drivers have gotten their first win at the Hungaroring.
Pretty narrow little track.
Well, next up, for Formula One, the Belgian Grand Prix at Spa, one of my favorites. 4.3 mile track, 191 mile distance. I think they do it in kilometers, and it's an even number. But,
Not important.
And then after that, it's the annual 4-week Formula One European mental health break,
That's right.
mandated by the European Union. I'm sure.
That should be fun.
I like Spa. How long was the old Spa?
Oh, it was kind of like the big Nürburgring, like that kind of 8-mile type of track
8 miles.
that ran out onto the city streets.
I remember the old days at Spa before they had radios. Drivers would go off into the trees somewhere, and then if they didn't come back within a certain amount of time, you knew they crashed, and you should send somebody to look for them.
Super safe.
Yeah, a few famous drivers died and or almost died at Spa because you didn't even know they crashed.
When they had the hay bales sitting on the side of the track.
Oh yeah, people would climb trees and get on top of roofs to watch Formula One races.
Well, moving on to IndyCar now. Somewhere in Canada, it's not important where, Herta wins the Toronto Grand Prix for the first ever Andretti 1-2. Maybe not, well, the first that I can remember in such a long time. Kyle Kirkwood finished second, and somehow, once again, Scott Dixon lurking around in third.
He started like 20th? How did he get to third? He's sneakier than a Japanese naval aviator.
I don't know. He just...
That one's not going to last on YouTube. Where I'm going to get a warning label for that one.
He's just right there. He's like the cat or something. You're just like, oh, Jesus, how'd you get here?
He sidles up to the podium. It was also their first win of the year.
Yes. Did they win last year? Maybe.
Andretti?
It's been a long time since they've been... Something always happens to their team.
Yeah. It was not a great day for Penske, finishing 11, 12, and 16. Race engineers later said they were having trouble with their cheat codes. TeamCheater.com.
I saw they were also too busy bumping each other as well. No. Push the pass button. Not actually push him.
Don't push your team. We don't bump draft in IndyCar.
Friday, Rossi was injured in a practice crash, so he was out, which paved the way for the remarkable return of Teddy Porkchops.
Teddy Porkchops. What? Were there no American drivers available?
There was no one around. They had to ship in Teddy Porkchops all the way from France and like a turnaround trip immediately to get out here as quickly as possible.
What? They don't have reserve drivers on IndyCar teams, do they?
No. Well, Teddy's just doing jobs that American drivers don't want to do, I guess.
That's what they said. They only let them come in because Americans won't do those jobs. Wait, what's Rossi's first name?
Alex.
See, I always think of Valentino.
Oh, the motorcycle?
Yeah.
He's been around a long time and won a lot of races.
He had a few more wins than IndyCar Rossi.
Yes. Man, he won like every race for quite a while there. And
oh, he was tough. He was tough to beat. McLaren's Formula One McLaren CEO Zach Brown was at the race, reportedly scouting for places to send Lando.
Maybe he should have just been in Hungary, telling his team not to over-strategize everything.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be another. It's like McLaren doesn't remember when they used to win Formula One races, and they got to learn it all over again. I don't know. Why was he at the IndyCar race instead of?
I don't know. He usually, it's like the big races will come over, like Long Beach or Indy. He was there, but
Yeah.
I don't know, Toronto maybe. Especially when there's an F1 race going on at the same time, he's usually at the F1 race.
So he's CEO of McLaren F1, right? He's not CEO of McLaren Racing.
He's over racing. So
Just
that's
all racing?
sports cars, IndyCar, F1.
Okay, well, that makes sense.
He's...
We should have him on the show. Maybe we can get him for an interview.
I'll call him. I'll
Yeah.
text him right now. Maybe you can cut in for the end.
Yeah.
Once again, Graham the Unlucky
Graham.
continues his streak of just awfulness, having his steering wheel display fail.
Like, things that would never happen to anybody in the world. happened to Graham Rahal.
I don't. It did make for an impressive first of its kind 5-wheel pit stop. Did you see that? He comes up.
Townsend was so impressed, one of the commentators. He's like, I've never seen a wheel get... Like, it cost him an extra 2 seconds on the stop, and he was amazed. How did they switch out a wheel that fast?
Isn't it just a button? I always assume like it's a lock. Click,
yeah, it looks...
And then the new one.
It looks pretty easy when they... At the end of the race when they're trying to get out.
Well, it needs to be for accidents, so you can get it out quick.
You would think. Well, Beavis and Butthead, also known as Rob and Rasputin, were out early.
Big shock.
Yeah. Rasputin was listed as mechanical, but I think they both actually crashed out.
Yeah, and they mechanically couldn't continue.
Yeah.
It's a nice way to say we were out of the race. So there was a red flag with 13 to go because of a massive crash.
That was a really big crash. Indy's becoming the spectacular crash at the end of the race series.
They really have. I don't know. It was a little concerning. Pato was sitting there for a good 5 seconds or so before the other car actually came up and hit him, which that's kind of a long time.
It was a pretty blind corner too.
Yeah.
Like, you might see him if there wasn't a car in front of you, but
I think, I don't know, they got to get their corner worker on that faster or something. Just put out the yellow corner flag at least to get everyone to start slowing down, because that's a bit dangerous.
I think the biggest star of the race was the street course. It ate a total of 10 cars, 10 DNFs,
That was a lot of
not
DNFs.
including the so-called mechanical DNFs. That's just crashed out DNFs.
That's a lot.
That's almost half the field.
At least Delara will have something to do over the Olympic break. And after the crash, you see Marcus Ericsson, like his suspension's broken, he's got his wing falling off, and he's like, "I'm gonna finish my lap," and the announcers are just like, "Just park it, man." He's like, "Nope, I'm gonna keep going."
That's where his tire was going bump, 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 bump.
And finally, the wing got stuck under the tire, and he couldn't turn, and I'm like, "Just park it."
Do you remember the Las Vegas Grand Prix? Downtown Las Vegas, back before the two series merged.
Oh yeah, champ car.
And it was champ car. It went from kart to champ car, and it was Bourdais, not Sebastian Bourdais, the other Bourdais, the IndyCar French Bourdais, the French Bourdais. Anyway, he hit something and he's trying to get back to the pits, and he's tearing the car up, and the race engineer says, "You are tearing up parts we cannot afford to replace."
Oh.
He got a little whiny when things went bad for him too.
Yeah, that tends to happen. I guess IndyCar also taking up. Well, they're going to take a 4-week break, I think.
Just like Formula One.
Just like Formula One. So
like 2 for the Olympics and 2 for what are the other 2 weeks for?
Funsies? I don't know. So then they'll head to the Oval at Gateway for the Bommarito 500K, not miles.
Oh, yeah.
That is 250 laps, and it's a 1.25-ish oval. Not a
great.
A little bigger than Phoenix. I'm going to guess tough to pass.
Yeah.
Kind of like, it'll be a little bit like Iowa. Hopefully better than Iowa, because it's not repaved recently.
No.
On half the track.
We can only hope. Those 1-mile tracks are just not great for Indy cars.
They should be better. I hope Firestone fixes their tire. They were kind of having, it didn't really degrade as quickly as it should have at Iowa, which didn't help.
They need to stick to 1 to 2.5 mile, 1.5 to 2.5 mile tracks.
I think the big 1.5 mile tracks are some of the best racing that they put on.
Yeah.
Actually, I missed the Michigan Fontana style racing too. Those were fun to watch.
Oh yeah, go back to Michigan. Well, they can't go back to Fontana.
No, that would be more of a dirt track at this point, I guess.
You know, people in California that don't live there call it Fontucky.
Not anymore.
Well, yeah.
It's now a warehouse, I believe.
Oh, that's sad. Well, they can still call the town Fontucky.
Yes, that's correct. I guess that's it for racing. I did go see Hamilton last Friday night in Tempe. Uh, completely disappointed. 0 out of 10 rating from me. Lewis, nowhere to be seen at all, and absolutely 0 cars. It was the worst experience I've ever had.
Not the Hamilton you were expecting.
No, when the people are up here singing, where's the cars? Where's Lewis? Awful.
Sadly, I was unable to work up the desire to buy tickets to Hamilton because I didn't really enjoy the Disney version.
Well, you wouldn't have liked it, Lewis. No Lewis at all.
No Lewis Hamilton.
I think Lewis would at least show up, but no.
I wonder if he would like Hamilton. You think Hamilton would like Hamilton?
He probably would.
Well, it's American. It's all about beating the crap out of the British, so maybe not.
I will say that King George is my favorite part of the play. He's got those couple of songs in there. That was nice.
He sings. King George sings the song.
That's my favorite part.
Is it funny?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just scrub to that part.
You could probably just find the songs or something on YouTube and watch that part.
And Rumble. Let's not forget Rumble.
Rumble.
Rumble's also a very good video, whatever you call those, streaming
Platform?
Yes. That's the word. All right, that's it. We'll have more racing next week, and then the big break.
Find something to talk about.
I don't know what we're going to do during the big break.
Track and field?
Oh, yeah. Olympic coverage. I like fencing. Do you watch fencing during the Olympics?
Probably watch a bit.
I do appreciate the streaming platforms. Otherwise, you're never going to see fencing.
It was, never on TV.
No. Fencing and, modern pentathlon.
That one's interesting. All
Yeah.
the different events.
It was based on every skill that a captured soldier needs to have in Napoleon era battles. Like you have to be able to run, get in a sword fight, swim, ride a horse and jump things, and then shoot.
That's about all you need to do.
Like I'm almost qualified to do modern pentathlon, except for the running part. I'm probably not going to be so hot, but I could do the horse jumping and the shooting and the fencing.
Is it time to update the modern pentathlon to be flying and being really good at flying in video games?
Yeah. How about drone flying?
Yeah, just please, drone.
Drop a bomb or a grenade from a drone on a certain spot.
Yep, that's all you need now. All right, that's good.